Today's date is 9/22/22, and this is Frieda Hennenberger, and we've got General Patton with her, Sarge, but General Patton's with her right there. But Frieda Hennenberger, husband died at age 90 4 years ago, and he was a pilot in that type of plane behind her called a P47. There's only 14 left flying in the world, and we've got one of them right here in Evansville, Indiana. Now, Frieda, tell us about your husband. When did you get married, and how did you meet him?
Well, I met John when I was graduated from college and went to Mount Carmel, Illinois to teach business school at the high school. And I met him. And
Speak louder.
okay, you want me to start over?
No, just speak louder.
Oh, okay.
You met him in Mount Carmel after college, or Carmel or Mount Carmel?
Mount Carmel, after I graduated from college, when I went to Mount Carmel High School as a business teacher, I met John.
So you were about 22 then when you met him?
I was 10 years younger than John.
And he was 32. When was he born?
He was born in 1922.
22. So that's most of the warriors in World War II were born in 1916, 1926. So he was right in that age. Now, where was he from?
He was from Mount Carmel, and he graduated from Notre Dame.
And what was your maiden name?
My maiden name is Lawrence.
Lawrence, because my wife's family's from there, Bosnagles.
Oh, I know
They were from there.
Bosnagles.
The Bosnagles were all from there.
Yes, but I'm from Cadiz, Kentucky.
Cadiz, Kentucky. Okay, and then you moved up there and you met him after school.
And I graduated. I was hired as a business teacher in high school.
Speak up.
I was the business teacher at the high school in
Okay.
Mount Carmel, Illinois.
Where did you meet Mr. Hennenberger?
Well, on a blind date in Mount Carmel.
Well, good. And then did he talk about the war at all?
No,
He never talked about it.
he didn't.
And so he went to Notre Dame, and he probably got some education there, and then he went to flight school.
Yes, we're in Texas.
Texas, I see.
One of the Air Corps places.
He was a pretty good pilot then, because about 90% washout rate. If I turn to the left here, we've got what you call a steerman here. This is a steerman, and that's the first plane, that yellow plane. So he trained in that first. Then he had a couple other trainers before that. Then he went into the P47.
The P is what he talked about.
Pursuit, yeah.
And I knew it was a hot pursuit.
Hot pursuit. So General Patton here to the left, very important in World War II. He loved the P-47s because when the Germans were retreating in Italy, he could tell the P-47s to pursue their supplies. So they would hit the trains and hit everything else. General Patton loved the P-47 because it helped his army not have a lot of problems. Do you remember that, General?
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah. And so very important, the P-47. They would do skip bombing. Below this plane, or above this plane, you see the big engines there, or the big, I'm putting it on the rifles there. The rifles were very strong. They would turn over a tank or turn over a locomotive, but they also, below the wing there, where you're to the left of your head there, we would hold bombs there, and they do skip bombings on trains and on tunnels and things of that sort. Well, I'm sure glad we got to talk to you today, Mrs. Hennenberger,
Well, thank you
Frieda,
so
and your
much.
husband was, what is his first name and last name?
John Hennenberger.
And he was born in 20 and died in what, or 22?
He died in 22, and he died 4 years ago.
About 1918. And he about 1918 or 2018 when he died about.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for visiting
Well,
our museum
thank
today.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, General. Do you have any comments about
No
P-47?
problem. This is a famous plane. They call it the Jug.
Called the Jug, and they call it because it's sit upside
Shoot it all to
down.
pieces and still fly home.
Yeah, because it is air cooled, and then when you stand upside down on its bow or in front of its plane, it looks like a milk jug, but also it would come back. It was a real tough plane.
That's right.
Well, most of the other ones were water cooled, so that's why this was such a good plane. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for this.